Welcome back to the Glint Standard. Today we're going to be talking about client conflict. I feel like we've all had that challenge in our careers, whether in advertising or not. You're going to have a customer or a client, could even be a vendor at times, right? That you're just on a different page and emotions run high, people get upset, right?
Yeah.
I think when you use the word conflict, it has a very negative connotation to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk a little bit about that because that is part of it.
Right.
But it's not always, conflict is not always a bad thing as well. I want everyone to remember that,
Right.
It's having conflict and passion behind an idea or something that drives things forward with two open-minded people. It's not about just respecting each other. It's just having a passion to try to drive your point home because you believe in it.
Right.
If you have people doing that for you in a respectful way, it's conflict, but it's really good conflict.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Conflict for me, I think about it's just that uncomfortable part, right? It's not necessarily always going to result in a bad negative effect, right? Oftentimes, conflict leads to better relationships or
It does.
better resolution or better understanding of each other, right? And so, it can, right? But
it can. It definitely opens you up a little bit to,
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. Everybody wants it, the sunny and happy, and it's always great. Life's not like that.
No.
People get upset for whatever reason, and if you can get down in the dirt and dig through some of that and still be connected afterwards, you're going to be able to do really good things together. But as soon as if you get upset and you've got to feel like, I'm done with this, I'm moving on, right? The challenge may be you. It may not be the other person, right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes you maybe need to do that. I will dig into that a little bit too. But what are some things you think causes conflict?
Ooh.
On the client relationship side.
Yeah. I would say from my experience dealing with clients, typically conflict comes in when there's unmet or unrealized expectations, expressed or not expressed, right? That it could be something as simple as like communication, right? So I thought I explained that well. I thought you understood. I thought I did a good enough job, right? To really
And take it the other way too,
Right.
where I didn't understand.
Right.
This is what I thought I heard, right? But I missed that. So let's work on that communication.
So, and that's part of it. I think, like, if you're actually communicating, you're saying those things. When I think conflict really starts to arise, or that disagreement starts to arise, is really when it comes out to, it was never expressed, right?
Mhm.
Like, somebody was like, oh, I really didn't understand, but I didn't ask questions either, right? And so I just pushed forward. And we have that even internally, right? Talking to designers sometimes, it's like,
Don't pick on designers.
I'm just saying.
UAEs are terrible. No.
Right. So,
Let's do some conflict right now.
So, but like, I thought I explained myself extremely well. I had this idea in my head, and when I get back, is not what I expected.
And actually, that's a really good point because now you're frustrated, you're irritated. We're going to miss the deadline. You know the client's not going to be happy. Creative's mad because they think they've done something great and hit a point. They got to redo it again. Now we have a bunch of annoyed, irritated people, right?
Right.
Major conflict. But some of that is also people respecting each other enough to know they're not trying to do this to me.
Right.
And almost every single time, it's a 50-50 relationship where somebody's not giving the 50%, conflict will start. One of the two parties.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so what about you? What do you think causes conflict?
I think that's for me, expectations being on the same page, right?
Yeah.
I think easily people fall into money. I don't believe that's the case at all, right? Money's an easy answer for whether it's budgets or it's out of scope, we need to charge you some more. That can start to cause a little conflict, but that's about, okay, when we started we discussed and reminding, because projects can take a while.
Right.
You may be 30 days later, right? And you're going, we use a website as an example, right? You said you create a website, I've got these things that I want to do to it now. You're creating my website, why is the price changing? Well, what you're asking for now is very different than what we talked about in the beginning, and it's specialized programming that goes in to accomplish that. We can absolutely do it. Great idea.
Right.
here's what it's going to take to get that done. It's not really something that was covered in the beginning, but you also don't know to talk about that in the beginning. So it's about trusting and having open communication, and about let's get you what you need, and let's really work through that together. But you have to trust both sides at that point, that no one's trying to take advantage of you, right? And it really does require what you need, and you have to. It's hard for people to trust when it comes down to that piece of it. Yeah. I've budgeted this much money, 10 grand, 20 grand, whatever it is, right, for this really awesome website, and now I've got to pay more. Well, yeah, it's a more awesome website now, and it's going to. Here's why we should invest that extra money, and this is something we've discovered along the way. Now, if you don't want to, that's fine. We can still create it and get it right where it needs to be based on what we talked about in the beginning. Whether we're bringing up the idea or the client is. Right. You just can't be afraid to have the conversation, and I think people do. And later, that drives towards conflict. So for me, that's one of the biggest ones.
Yeah. I would say deadlines is also probably another big one that often results in not necessarily conflict, but just disagreement, right? Where it's like, oh, we're trying to hit this. The thing I've noticed is internally, because we manage our deadlines, right? And we try to manage that whole process because there's a lot of balls that are in the air and you're trying to juggle all of it.
It's hard to do. We do miss those deadlines sometimes.
It does,
right?
But I think even oftentimes we have more of a sense of urgency as an agency of like, we'd like to get this done. We'd like to wrap it up, like all those kinds of things. Not in a mean way. Like we want you out of the door, but more of like, hey, like we want to do this so it's done for you. So
let's deliver it.
And we just believe in it, right? We know this is going to help your business, so like we want it to tomorrow.
Start working for you.
Like, let's do it. And so there's always a sense of urgency, I think, because we also see the results, right? We have a lot of past clients, so we can see that those results do happen, and so we can see. If we can do that for the next client, it's like we absolutely want to get it done. But the client is kind of like, I want to take it slow. I want to make sure it's done right. I want to make sure, like I'd rather.
Is that trust then? They don't trust us. This is happening way too fast. We're not thinking it through. Right. But that's a conversation as well that can be overcome, right? Hey, here's what we're doing. Here's why we've had an opening. Something we can move your work forward, right? And push down that way. And if the client's delaying on their side, having a conversation, but that's going to delay when we deliver. And they may be fine with it. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. But we have to push because we can't have the project dragged out for a year. Yeah. We lose money, right? So then there's conflict in that. Now it's on the agency side. Again, you have to explain and talk through those pieces and just work through it together. Right?
So talk to me about ways that you go about resolving conflict that does arise.
So I always start. If it's something that hits home, right, and maybe gets you a little emotional, upset, mad, whatever that is, stop and just get away from it for an hour or so. Everything can wait an hour or so, usually, right? If it's say you ran an ad and it's linking to the wrong place, big issue, right? Yeah. Conflict, we're going to get on that and we're going to handle it right away. I'm going to call you right away. I'm going to pick up the phone and call you and say, I hear you. I'm sorry this happened. We're on it right now. And let them know something's happening. Don't go silent. Don't wait an hour, right? But I think tone has a lot to do with it. And we can dig into that a little bit. But at the end of the day, they have to know you care. You're always going to be as proactive as possible. And when there is a problem, you're going to be found. They will be able to find you. And a lot of times, the clients don't want to talk to you when there's conflict. Shoot an email, upset. We pick up the phone. I'll be there in an hour. Yeah. Right? And then you follow up with an email or a text and say, this is what we're doing. I will be there in an hour because that's how important it is to me. Yeah. And then usually they will call you back and say, no, you don't need to come out. It's fine. I appreciate you jumping on this. It happens. We're sorry. Your fault, our fault. Doesn't matter at this point. Let's just fix it. And then we can go over the details of how we got here later. But let's focus on fixing the problem first. Yeah. I think if you can take that approach and you don't hide from conflict, you have less of it. People come to trust whenever something does happen that would maybe spark conflict. It kind of goes away a little bit. So, they're going to handle it. They're not afraid of it. They will talk to us. We just need to figure it out. We're partners in this, right? So that, to me, that's the biggest thing right there. Yeah. And call it caring, right? You have to care to work through the challenge. Yeah. You got to want to do it, right?
Yeah, and I agree. I would say the thing that I have found that helps me at least overcome conflict when it is just being realistic, right? Having those very difficult conversations of going, hey, like we screwed up, it's our fault. But we're also human, right? That's gonna happen. Not everything is gonna be perfect every single time we sit down to do it. And having clients that can understand that and relate to that is always beneficial for us to get worked through that.
Yeah.
But also just going, hey, I think a lot of times as an agency, we often go like, it's our mistake. It's we throw it all on us, rather than having empathy. What is this doing to their business, right? And so whenever I'm trying to communicate that, I'm like, hey, I know, like, let's say it is linking to the wrong website. I know that it went to the wrong website. I know that's lost traffic for you. I'm extremely sorry, right? I know that affects your business. Absolutely, 100%.
Here's what we're doing to fix it.
Right? I want to fix it because I want to be successful for you, right? And just being empathetic to them and understanding like how it's affecting them. Because oftentimes it's, let's just fix it really fast rather than going like, I understand and can resonate with the feelings that you're having, right?
Yeah, and that's where tone comes into play as well. Say what you just said, nice, calmly all through it, right? It delivers a certain way. I understand this is causing you problems, things like that. We're on it. We're going to make it happen.
Right.
That tone right there is going to go, what, are we a burden to you? I mean, you said the exact same words. So I think tone and delivery matters, and you can't be too soft. Sometimes you need to be a little more firm. Like, look, I understand what you're saying. It's not that critical. Here's why. I need you to trust us to take this forward, right? And I get that you're so passionate about this and try to work through it, but try to understand. But at the end of the day, what you said was, I understand this is affecting your business, and we want to get that right.
Right.
You're thinking about it the right way at that point. It's not about the thing. The thing doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because the thing's broken and the thing needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's a big piece of it. You can say 4 words 4 different ways, and it comes across 4 different ways completely with your intention, right? And oftentimes you'll see people go, well, that's not what I said.
Right.
Well, but it's how you said it.
So we obviously are going to have conflict, right? We have ways to resolve it. But why is it important, do you think, in the relationship to really try to resolve that conflict, right? Rather than going, whatever.
Yeah. I'm a big believer, if you say you're going to do something, do it. Right? If you tell a client you're going to handle it. And when it gets hard and you have conflict, to go, never mind, this isn't what I signed up for, it's not good. It is what you signed up for, so see it through.
Right.
Don't just back out and let it go, let's go get another one. Because as you know, getting clients is very difficult. You don't want to lose them, and you don't want, if conflict is happening, a lot of times it's coming from us and how we're handling things. And I always firmly believe that, right? If we can manage that ourselves, there'll be less conflict, you work through it.
Right.
So for me, the biggest challenge with conflict and the reason it's so important is you don't want to lose client relationships because of it. It's not worth it. You got to build them the right way. So
yeah, that reputation aspect, right? So
yeah, you do it a lot, you're going to be known as that agency.
Right.
Nobody wants to work for that agency unless there are other people like that. There are people in the world, they thrive in conflict. I don't. Right? I don't want to be around that.
Right.
Other people have to be around it, and that's okay. We're not the agency for that, right? If you want to battle us on everything, and they may love us, and this has happened, and we're battled on everything. No, I just wanted to hear what you had to say, make sure it works. It wastes a lot of time. It's not important. That's our feeling on it. For them, it's the most important thing is to debate everything to make sure we have the right solution. We didn't account for all that time. I really love it. It's perfect. Can you do it? I would like to see it 2 or 3 different ways, though. Well, we've already done that work. We're delivering what it needs to be. Right. And trusting that, right? But some people just want to see more just to see more, just because. Yeah. Right?
Is that the communication side where they don't know that we've gone through 18 different, revisions or
It can be, they don't care, right? When people need to be in conflict, and those aren't bad people, it's just the way they operate, they have to be able to have that battle debate on everything. That's what they thrive on. It's what they feel good. It gets them in a space that they can operate and move forward. Mm-hmm. So if you know you're dealing with somebody that, you can deal with them and work through it. And when things get heated, they're not being disrespectful to you. It's how they communicate.
Yeah.
But it's often taken personal, and it feels terrible, right? So you have to know your audience, just like in marketing, right? Know who you're talking to. What makes them tick? What do they worry about? What are their burdens, right?
Absolutely.
What makes them happy? You don't have to agree with those, but you can use those to help manage things down the pathway, and that's part of our job. So I do put it on us as much as possible, right? We've also had to end partnerships because of it, right? Our fault, their fault, irrelevant, but we've had to do it. They hate it, so a lot of wasted time, wasted money, wasted time, wasted money on our side as well. Nobody wants that. And usually there are signs, and you have to trust that you're seeing the signs and move on, but in the beginning you're always really excited, right? The new client relationship, you're excited, woo, let's do it, and you're hanging out and celebrating, yeah, you chose us, great. And then you start going down the path and it's a phone call. No, the first week, where are we? 2 days later, where are we? Did you think about doing this, right? And they may start managing the process, and that happens. You got to nip that in the bud.
Yeah.
Or they're super excited, they're ready to go, and we haven't explained the process. Okay, we'll get something to you. You'll see initial brainstorming in a couple weeks, but you didn't really define what that
really
is.
Know that, yeah.
So you go in and they're, what have you been doing for the last 2 weeks?
Yeah.
They forget you're a normal business that has a lot of work that has to be scheduled through, right?
Right.
But they also don't care.
Right.
Their most important business is theirs, and they want to know it is for us as well, right?
Yeah.
So that can't be the answer. We got a lot of other work that we've got to schedule around and everything for you, and this, that, and the other. That's why we can't do it. There's not a person in the world who wants to hear that.
No.
Right? May be the case, but you got to deliver it the right way. So it can cause you to lose clients, and you don't want to do that because they're so hard to get. The other is what you mentioned, right? Reputation.
Yeah.
And it's this digital age that can get you quick. That's branding 101. Word of mouth. It's hard to get the positives all the time because you got to pull it out of people. They love you, but you can't get them to visually show you anything on a platform or something. But you mess up and you don't handle it right, they have no problem taking 5 minutes to let you know about that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's just human nature, I think.
Yeah, and the way that people respond now, right? Like when you look at reviews left on companies, they're more likely to leave a negative review than they are a positive review.
Yeah,
and typically they will go out of their way to actually write a whole paragraph or whatever that is about why it was wrong. But if it was really good, it's 5 stars.
Okay, so let me throw this out there then. So there are companies out there. We did a really good job for them. Why didn't they leave us 5-star review or whatever? Why do we have to pull it out? Why aren't people doing it? You know why? That's what people expect.
Yeah.
You want a 5-star review? It should be because you went above and beyond.
Right.
You shouldn't. For doing the job and doing it really, really well, that should be the standard of expectation. Do you deserve 5 stars? Great if they want to do it because you did do what you said. Which doesn't happen all the time.
No.
Great, 5 stars. I'm in for that. But it's really about going above and beyond. This is what happened. This is how they handled that. I love this company. Right. That's why people put reviews. More often, though, it's, here are my expectations. They missed it. Here's why. And slam.
Yeah.
Right? So how you respond to that matters a lot, too.
Yeah.
But I think that's why, and I think that's where people get misaligned, too. I've done my job, and I've been exceptional at it. Right? Well, that's what we paid you to do.
Right.
Okay, great. Why do you need more? Human nature says we do. So you have to understand that, right?
Right, and that's what I was going to say is most human beings want the recognition that they went above and beyond.
Yeah.
Even if it was just a hair
above and beyond, I think that's fair, right?
Well, even if it was just a hair above what the expectation was, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, or just reinforce that they are doing a good job. I think a lot of people like the comfort of being reinforced in knowing that they're doing what they're supposed to be.
So here we go. We're talking about conflict with clients, right?
Right.
Do that same thing with the clients.
Oh, absolutely.
And conflict will go away because that's how you start to turn that into solving problems together.
Right.
Right? hey, I know that was really hard for you to get that for me today. I get you got a lot on your plate. Thank you so much for doing it. We're going to take it from here. We're going to kill it. We got exactly what we need now. Right. And remembering to say those things when you're talking to clients, they need to be reminded sometimes that they're doing an amazing job too, because they will forget. And some are doing an amazing job, and they think they're just doing their job. Oh no, you are way above and beyond. We have had clients that say, I know we're probably the most difficult client you had. And I'm like, you're a dream client. Now, they don't often believe us when we say that.
Right.
But, long-term relationship will start to show that. Absolutely. And it's really funny, and I think that's part of it. It's the expectation and understanding where people are. So, anyway, I think that's the best way to work through those things.
Well, we've hit 250 listeners, which is awesome.
Hooray, that's awesome.
I know.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
So we would love to hear from you guys. If you have any tips, tricks, anything like that.
Not just, not listeners, downloads.
Well, downloads.
Yeah, that's...
So...
I don't know, is that the same thing?
Pretty much.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. I'll be the old guy in the room again.
So we'd love to hear from you guys. So we've heard from a few of you, but we'd love to hear from everybody because we want everybody to weigh in, right? So if you have any tips, tricks, anything like that, if you're able to share a story that maybe you were able to resolve conflict in a unique way that you did that, we'd love to hear about it. So just leave us a comment down below on whatever platform you're listening to. We're on every single podcast platform now, and also you can watch us on YouTube as well. So definitely check us out, the Glint Standard